You're watching RIP News, where we remember the lives that touched the world. In the last 24 hours, we've lost voices, hearts, and souls who made a difference. This video is our small tribute to their impact, their journeys, and the memories they've left behind. If any part of their story moves you, please consider liking this video, not just for us, but in honor of them. We appreciate you joining us. He didn't need a gun to be dangerous. Just a look, a line, a walk across the room. Some men act tough. Others are born with it in their blood. He was fire in human form, an explosion of energy, unpredictability, and raw charisma. From the slums of New York to the golden age of Hollywood, James Cagney didn't just play gangsters, he redefined them. But his real story? It's far more layered, vulnerable, and deeply human than you might think. James Francis Cagney was born on July 17, 1899, on New York's Lower East Side, a place teeming with poverty, crime, and survival instincts. His father was an alcoholic boxer and bartender who struggled to support the family. Young Jimmy knew struggle early. He witnessed the harsh realities of street life, lost a brother to the 1918 flu pandemic, and was often forced to take odd jobs just to help keep the family afloat. He didn't start out chasing the spotlight. His original ambition? To become a commercial artist. But fate had other plans. After working as a boxer, a sailor, and even a nightclub dancer, Cagney fell into vaudeville almost by accident, replacing a sick performer at the last minute. It wasn't long before his magnetic stage presence got noticed. Still, the early years weren't easy. Rejections were constant. Auditions were humiliating. And Hollywood? That was a distant dream. But what set James Cagney apart was his grit, his relentless pursuit of craft, and his refusal to be anyone but himself. His first major break came in 1931 with The Public Enemy, where he played the volatile, charismatic gangster Tom Powers. Audiences had never seen anything like it. 1 minute, he was charming. The next, terrifying. The famous grapefruit scene, where he smashed a grapefruit into his co-star's face, became iconic overnight. With that role, Cagney didn't just enter Hollywood, he exploded into it. But success didn't dull his edge. Over the next 2 decades, Cagney starred in a string of hits: Angels with Dirty Faces, White Heat, Yankee Doodle Dandy, each performance revealing a new facet of his talent. He could be brutal. He could be tender. He could be patriotic, romantic, or terrifying. Whatever the role demanded, Cagney delivered, and then some. In 1942, he stunned the world by portraying the all-American songwriter George M. Cohan in Yankee Doodle Dandy. The man known for playing gangsters was now singing, dancing, and waving the flag. The performance earned him an Academy Award for Best Actor and proved what many had long suspected: James Cagney wasn't just a tough guy, he was one of the most versatile actors of his generation. But behind the camera, he was just as bold. Cagney was one of the first major stars to challenge the studio system. He took Warner Brothers to court over unfair contracts, and won. In doing so, he helped pave the way for future generations of actors to have more control over their careers. In 1942, he and his brother even founded their own production company, Cagney Productions, a revolutionary move at the time. Yet even with all his success, Cagney remained deeply private. He preferred farming on his estate in upstate New York to Hollywood parties. He was married to the same woman, Frances Vernon, for over 60 years, a rare feat in showbiz. He valued integrity over image, craft over fame, and family over fortune. In his later years, he walked away from the industry on his own terms. No scandals. No downward spiral. Just quiet dignity. After a 2-decade hiatus, he returned for one last role in 1984's Ragtime, a quiet reminder of his enduring presence. Cagney's legacy isn't just in his films. It's in the artists he inspired. Actors like Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Jack Nicholson all cite him as a major influence. He changed how men were portrayed on screen: less polished, more real, more dangerous, more human. He once said, "You dirty rat." A line so iconic it became part of pop culture, even though he never actually said it that way in any film. That's the kind of presence he had. He was mythic even while he was alive. James Cagney passed away on March 30th, 1986, at the age of 86. But he left behind more than just unforgettable performances. He left behind a blueprint for greatness: work hard, stand tall, never fake it, and always bring the truth. James Cagney was not just a movie star. He was a force, a fire. A man who never blinked in the face of adversity and made history because of it. And yet, his story is just one among many flames that once lit the golden age of Hollywood. Stay with us, because next, we'll step into the life of another screen legend, one whose path to immortality was just as defiant, just as daring, and just as unforgettable. Some legends don't announce themselves. They arrive quietly, carve through the noise, and leave a silence no one can ever fill. He didn't look like a movie star. He didn't talk like one. And maybe that's why Gene Hackman stood out, because he was never trying to fit in. From rejection and hardship to 2 Academy Awards and a legacy of unforgettable performances, this is the story of a man who defied the odds, and became one of the greatest actors in cinematic history. Eugene Allen Hackman was born on January 30, 1930, in San Bernardino, California. Life didn't start easy. His father walked out on the family when Gene was just 13. That abandonment left a deep emotional scar, and forced Gene to grow up fast. He found solace in radio shows, movie theaters, and eventually, in a dream, to become a storyteller. But the road to success was never straight. At 16, Gene lied about his age to enlist in the United States Marine Corps, serving for over 4 years. That discipline, that grit, it would stay with him for life. When he returned to civilian life, he floated through jobs: TV repairman, doorman, furniture mover, each one a reminder of what he didn't want to become. He wanted something more, even when the world told him it was too late. At the age of 30, Gene enrolled at the Pasadena Playhouse in California to study acting. But the criticism was brutal. One instructor labeled him least likely to succeed. He was laughed at, overlooked, dismissed. Yet that only fueled his determination. Gene moved to New York City, scraping by and working as a truck driver and soda jerk, until opportunity finally knocked. His first break came in the early 1960s, with appearances on TV and a small role in the film Lilith, 1964. But it was his performance in Bonnie and Clyde, 1967, as Buck Barrow that changed everything. The role earned him his first Academy Award nomination, and suddenly, the underdog was on Hollywood's radar. Then came The French Connection, 1971, and the role of a lifetime, Detective Popeye Doyle. It wasn't just a performance, it was an explosion of raw, restless energy. Hackman won the Oscar for Best Actor, solidifying his place among Hollywood's elite. But he didn't stop there. Throughout the 1970s and 80s, he took on role after role, never repeating himself. From the chilling villain Lex Luthor in Superman, to the tortured father in I Never Sang for My Father, to the complex spy in The Conversation, Gene Hackman proved he could do it all: heroes, anti-heroes, villains, and everything in between. What made Gene different was that he didn't chase the spotlight. He chased the truth. His performances were honest, layered, human. He wasn't afraid to look ugly on screen, to show fear, rage, shame, vulnerability. He once said, "I try to live in a little bit of my own reality." And it was that quiet authenticity that made him so unforgettable. In 1992, Hackman won his second Academy Award, this time for Best Supporting Actor as the ruthless sheriff in Unforgiven, directed by Clint Eastwood. It was one of the most powerful performances of his career, and a reminder that even decades in, he was still evolving. But perhaps one of his greatest successes wasn't just what he accomplished, but how he walked away. In 2004, after over 100 films, Gene Hackman retired from acting. No grand announcement. No farewell tour. He simply stepped back, turned the page, and began a quiet life of writing, publishing historical fiction novels and enjoying his days out of the spotlight. Gene Hackman's life goals were never about being famous. They were about doing work that mattered. Bringing characters to life that weren't perfect, but real. And through that mission, he became a master of his craft, earning respect from generations of actors and directors. From a boy abandoned by his father, to a Marine who saw the world before his time, to an actor once labeled least likely to succeed, to a legend who redefined what a leading man could be. Gene Hackman proved that greatness isn't loud. Sometimes, it's forged in silence, and revealed in the eyes of a man who knows who he is. Even in retirement, his legacy endures. You'll still see his name pop up in lists of the greatest actors of all time. His performances continue to teach aspiring artists what it means to act without ego, to serve the story, to live the role. He once said, "The difference between a good performance and a great one is often honesty." And that's what Gene Hackman gave us, again and again. But his was not the only story built on grit and brilliance. Stay with us, because coming up next, we unveil the untold journey of another legend, one whose story may just inspire you even more.